Good morning around the diamond. Welcome to another episode. You got Grand Slam Sam and you got Baseball Bill here on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, strange. It's a
Little
strange
awkward,
scenario.
but we roll with the punches. We go with the flow. We don't let anything stop us, especially a weekend when we talk about baseball.
Yeah. Sammy, I noticed that you stopped that right before we could say root for the Dodgers.
I made sure I segmented that down. Now it's interesting, as you say that, the point I believe when they created the song and they put root for the home team, I believe that was an intent to input your team's name in there.
Yeah, I think so too.
So Giants, all done. Just saying.
There you go.
Bill, how's your weekend been so far, my friend?
It's going wonderful. I'm excited to talk about this topic, and I'm super excited about what you and I talked offline about. There's going to be an Around the Diamond segment that's going to get special here pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
We got
Woo!
some great stuff coming up, and we're not going to waste any time just chit-chatting about it right here. We're going to get right into it. But
Let's get right into it.
first and foremost, spring training, 2 days away. Now, Bill is excited. Bill is over the moon. He's like a kid in the candy shop right now, picking up all the sweets, just trucking them all into that bag, just getting ready to go. Now, top in and around the diamond thing, something we want to just be clear. While, yes, it does say pitchers and catchers report in 2 days, and I'm sure you are all wondering, they're going to start playing on Valentine's Day? Like, what? No, that's not the case. All that's required is that they are at their campsites on the 14th. So they will start practicing the 15th. If they're really overzealous and their wives really don't like them, then yes, they will be practicing on the 14th. But I highly doubt that's going to happen. So, Bill, you excited? You excited 2 days away? Baseball.
Listen, normally we don't do this on a Sunday morning. Normally we do this on a Saturday, but I got to tell you, it's Super Bowl Sunday. And you know what, for me, is the best part about Super Bowl Sunday?
What?
They raise that trophy, and then all I hear when they raise that trophy is play ball. Best two words in the English language. I could care less. My team's not in it today. And besides for that, we've made such a big brouhaha. No disrespect to football fans. We've made such a brouhaha over the Super Bowl. It's one game. Let's go. Let's get to baseball. Come on.
Yes. We got 162 games waiting for us around the corner after today.
Yes.
After today, everything else goes to the side and baseball becomes the primary focus, which I'm ecstatic about. Anything you're specifically excited about now that's really right here? It's like we're legitimately on the cusp. Is there anything you're excited about going into the spring training for your team, any of these teams? Is there something you're really excited to see?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited to see how some of the rookies play out for a lot of these different teams. Because we saw so much money spent um, this year in the offseason, I'm excited to see some of these rookies get a chance with some of these teams that we don't expect to make a huge run, i.e., no disrespect to some of these teams, but the Colorado Rockies, the Chicago Cubs, maybe some of the teams like Kansas City. I'm excited to see what rookies come to camp, what they do, how they perform, if they break camp, and then how they do in the MLB. I mean, that's exciting to me.
Yeah, I think for me, it's very similar. In past years, for prior to the pandemic, for a 10-year stretch, my father and I, we would go to spring training every year. We're now that the pandemic has more or less subsided, and things are as back to normal as possible. It's nice. We're able to get that tradition back going. And, it, I'm a, you start to, as you go to spring training, you learn like when's the best week to go. If you're a big rookie guy, you go in the very beginning of spring training. If you want to get a mix, you go that's middle of the second going into the third week. And then if you really want to see your starters just play and like that's what you want, you go the end of the third week going into that final week of the season. And that's really when things start to pick up. I'm lucky enough this year. I'm going right in the smack dab in the middle. I'm going the 9th through the 12th, or the 10th through the 12th, something like that. I'll be out there for a work conference, so I'll be hopping over from San Antonio to Scottsdale on a quick little commuter ramp flight. So any of you around the Diamond fans in Scottsdale area, make sure you reach out. I'll be more than happy to grab a drink with you. But what I'm excited about seeing is, in agreement with you, I'm excited to see these rookies. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with them. But another thing I'm excited about is there were a lot of big contracts signed in this offseason. A lot of big contracts. So I'm curious to see how these guys come out and play with their new teams or teams they've re-signed with. In the case of Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa, how their new contracts come into play and the focus that's going to be put on them, the spotlight that's going to be put on them that may not have been there last year. And then you got a guy like you mentioned, Dansby Swanson, or like the Cubs with Dansby Swanson. You got Trey Turner with Philly. How are these guys going to really connect with their new clubs? So it'll be very interesting to see that as spring training starts to really get underway.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. It should be exciting times overall just to see how some of these players play.
Yeah. And
Right.
this is also the time where you're going to see surprises happen. You're going to see the next superstars, getting the spotlight finally shown on them and being able to really earn their way up into the big club or move up to single A, double A, wherever they may land for the year.
Yeah.
So it'll be very
I'm excited about seeing like first ballot Hall of Famers like Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt be back in uniform playing, right? One of them's going to be playing with Toronto, but I mean these guys are first ballot guys, no doubt about it.
I'm looking at it in the same exact regard as first ballot Hall of Famer Mookie Betts and first ballot Hall of Famer Freddie Freeman for the Atlanta Braves. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe final ballot Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw. He might show up too.
There you go.
But as we talk about spring training, there were a couple of big things that actually happened in baseball in the last week. When it comes to a couple of signings, Yu Darvish for 6 years, $108 million contract. Bill, you want to tackle this one?
Sure. I'll tackle it from two perspectives and I'll give you 45 seconds
Oh,
on
great.
it. I'm gonna tackle it from a business perspective. I'm gonna tackle it from a fan perspective. From a fan perspective, this is awesome. You're locking up a guy who is played for your team a couple of seasons now and has done very well. Okay, and he's kind of a fan favorite down there. From a business perspective, this is an awful deal. He's in his late 30s. You're paying him an awful lot of money, and then where are you going to continue to get this money from? So San Diego signed for $100 million plus Joe Musgrove. They just, they have Fernando Tatis, they have Juan Soto, they have Manny Machado. All these guys that they
Xander
have,
Bogaerts.
yeah, Bogarts. So all these guys. So what are you going to do? How much are you going to offer Juan Soto? Are you going to let him walk? How much are you going to be able to offer Blake Snell after the 2024 season? Because you just thought Blake Snell is going to come in and say, hey, you're giving Q and you're giving Joe $100 million multi-year contract. What about me?
And to add to that, let's not also forget that the Padres have also come out and blatantly said, we're going all in on one Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you have a $2 billion payroll. Where exactly do you get $2 billion to pay for all of those?
So if I were a betting man, okay, and I really don't want to see anything happen bad to any team because I want to beat the best. I want to play the best. If you're an athlete, you want to win against the best, right? But what this screams to me is where are you going to get the money for Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani? Because between the both of them, you're probably looking you're probably looking at between $800 and $900 million. Where are you going to be able to afford to get that? And so that leads me to the fact that Juan Soto is probably going to walk. Manny Machado's already said he's probably going to consider opting out. So now that's where you get your money to go after Shohei. But if you lose the sweepstakes to Shohei, then what do you got?
You become the Giants of 2023.
Yeah.
Which,
Well,
in my opinion, I think that you said it perfectly. You've got. I think the Padres are in this position where they're really hoping that Juan Soto waives his no trade clause and gets traded and allows the Padres to trade him to the Yankees. Because remember, Tatis has got a no trade clause. He could literally look at the Padres and say, bench me for the next 10 years. I'm not letting you trade me. And I'm just going to rake in all of the cash I can. Because he can do it. Because that's the thing with baseball. That your contracts are fully guaranteed. And if you have a no trade clause, it's literally held at the player's discretion. There is nothing the teams can do.
totally
So,
agree. Totally agree.
you have to hope that Tatis waives it. You have to also go through the hope that Machado doesn't flip on what he's already said and say, you know what, I'm going to play the remainder of my contract. Because if those two guys decide to not either opt out or waive their clauses, they legitimately will not have any money to sign anyone.
Well,
Unless they plan on going into debt and paying probably close to $500 million in luxury tax fees.
yeah. Let's look at it again. I'm not a gambler, but let's look at this from this perspective. The Padres are literally gambling that they're going to go to the World Series and or win the World Series this year. Now, on paper, that looks very legit. But remember, on paper last year, the Dodgers looked very legit to win it all. Okay, on paper.
Yeah.
So here's what they've got. The Padres are holding a pair of aces down low, right? And they've got an ace showing up top. Their competitors are holding a pair of kings down low, and there's a king showing on top. They really got to hope and pray, really got to hope and pray.
Yeah.
They get that ace on that final card, because if
100%.
not, they're in trouble.
Yeah, and I agree with you 1,000%. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this.
Yep. Agreed.
So Christian Javier, 5-year extension, $64 million. Astros got a steal, in my opinion, on this. I think this was a perfectly designed contract for player and business, for the player and the club. This was great. This was a phenomenal thing for Christian. It was a phenomenal thing for the Astros. Locked in a solid pitcher for the next 5 years. Totally on board with this.
Yep. Agreed.
And then Bo Bichette's 3-year, $33.6 million contract. Now, this was specifically designed to take him out of arbitration.
Yep.
So, do you think Bo made a good gamble with this? Signing, yes. Eliminating his ability to possibly earn more in arbitration over the next 2 to 3 years?
Yes, because he's young, he's very young, and he's not putting the extra pressure on himself to get that extra big deal. I think this is a great move. When I saw it, I almost posted it on the Top Fan Rivalry Instagram page and just bragged about this, because I think this is the best of both deals. He'll still be mid-20s by the time this contract ends. Mm-hmm. And if he has a really good couple of seasons, he can go after that big contract in his mid-20s, the 10-year, $400 or $500 million contract, which is now kind of what we're giving out like candy, right? But he doesn't have the pressure on him like an Aaron Judge or Mike Trout or any of these guys do that have these major contracts. Because I mean, Sam, you live close enough to New York. When Aaron Judge comes up, everybody expects him to hit a home run every time. In New York, if he goes 1 for 27 because he's just struggling like a normal.
They're gonna be calling to cut his head off.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hold on 1 sec.
Well, and I agree with you. I think this was a great move for Bo Bichette.
Yeah,
At least to take him out of arbitration. I think this will also. I think he also played this out well to the Blue
yes,
Jays and basically said, "You got 3 years to put contenders around me.
yeah,
I'll lock this in, and you got 3 years to make sure we got the pieces around us to get to the game."
yeah,
Because if you don't put the pieces around me in 3 years to get to the game, and you're going to have to then pay me out a huge contract, I'll just go somewhere else where they need a shortstop and play at a high caliber level there. I mean,
exactly.
he's got all the pressure is on Toronto with this contract
Yep,
and Bo. It is.
yep.
Um, and then you got a couple of small deals. You got, first ballot Hall of Famer David Peralta going to the Dodgers on a 1 year contract. And then you got Kyle Tucker signing a 1 year deal with the Astros. So
I
two
I
small
love Kyle Tucker.
contracts.
I
Two.
love Kyle Tucker.
I think that was a great deal also for the
Yeah,
Astros. Very
I
smart
love
sign.
Kyle Tucker.
But again, some not major things, but some key things that have happened this week, especially for at least these three teams, the Astros, Padres, and Blue Jays, that's going to impact them for the next couple of years. So keep an
Yeah,
eye on these teams, because especially the Padres and the Blue Jays, it's going to be interesting to watch what happens.
yep.
But now as we move closer to the season, Bill and I want to start giving you our insights and our thoughts, our moose bushes into what each of these leagues and divisions are going to start holding. So we're going to start off with the behemoth AL East. Now, Bill, you've got a young team in the Orioles here.
Hmm.
Adley Rushman coming up. You got the recently signed Devers contract in Boston. You've got the Aaron Judge contract now in New York. Tampa Bay has got a lot of young talent. And then the Bo Bichette deal, and first, as you mentioned, first ballot Hall of Famer Brandon Belt, along with Vladdy, all there in Toronto. So give me your insights. What are you thinking about this AL East?
I think all 5 teams are playoff tenders, and that's what's hard. Um, the the Orioles have the best of both worlds right now. Okay, if I were going to look at all 5 of these teams, I'd say the Orioles have the best of both worlds because they're young, like you just mentioned, and nobody expects them to produce. The Yankees and Red Sox always have that expectation to produce. The Toronto Blue Jays, as you just mentioned, with Bo Bichette and Vladdy, and the all stars that they have there are expected to produce. Now, Tampa Bay has had a lot of success over the last couple of years with very few names, and they just quietly sneak under the radar, right? But all 5 of these teams, I'm calling it on Super Bowl Sunday. Right now, I'm calling it on Super Bowl Sunday, telling you that I think that the Baltimore Orioles could shock the world and make the playoffs this season. I'm saying it right now. But
In a wild card spot or
yeah,
as the champs
they're
of
not
the
going to win the
AL?
division, but probably a wild card spot. Now,
Okay.
what we haven't mentioned here, Sam, and I think is worth mentioning, is how does the new schedule alignment affect all of these teams where you're playing all 29 teams, other teams? And my argument would be that this is of complete benefit to all of these teams because all these teams are going to see teams that are struggling now, like the Diamondbacks, who are young but are still a couple of years away, like the Rockies, who I have no idea what their vision is, like the Pirates, who are just keeping the lights, paying enough money or making enough money to keep the lights on. and you
Okay,
have
they're
other
not the Redskins. They're not the Redskins of the NFL of the MLB.
the
The
Nationals
Redskins are legitimately doing just enough to keep the lights on in the stadium in like from falling
in
apart.
in
Like
one
literally
in
a
one
whole
right. So they're gonna
that
see
stadium is huge.
Miami. They're gonna see teams in the National League that they would normally not see. Now, granted, you see these teams anyways with the interleague, but you only see one division. You don't see every team. But what that also does mean too is they're going to see the Dodgers. They're going to see the Padres. They're going to see the other strong teams, the Cardinals. They're going to see the Phillies. They're going to see the Mets. They're going to see the Braves. They're going to see the teams also too that are strong. So I like this division. I think this is the division to watch this year. I really, really do.
Now, would you say that this is the division to watch in all of MLB or just the division to watch in the AL?
No, the division to watch in all of the MLB
Why?
because I think that they've got power with all five teams. So,
Oh,
my argument is everybody knows that Sam's a Giants fan and I'm a Dodger fan. Okay. The the NL West, for example, it's kind of a two-team dog and pony show with the Dodgers and Padres. Now the Giants could
on
shock.
paper, on
Yeah.
paper.
Now the Giants could shock and make a good run this year. They still have some talent up there in the north, but Arizona and Colorado aren't going to do anything. They're not going to make huge impacts. The National League
Now,
East, you have the
yeah,
Braves, Mets, and you have the Braves, Mets, and Phillies, right? But the
that's where I
Marlins
was
aren't going to do
going with
anything.
this.
What's that?
That's where, well, that's kind of where I was going with this. That you do have a really strong NL East division. You even in equality, you also, when you think about it, have a reasonably strong NL Central.
Yeah, NL Central's wide open. That the
I think
Cubs
the
could.
Cubs pulled in a couple of good pieces that will put them into contention. I think the Cardinals are still going to be strong, even with Pujols and Yadi leaving. I think that those are two pieces that it'll be hard to replace Yadi's defense, but I don't think it'll be hard to replace Yadi's offense. And Pujols was a glorified DH last year. So, I mean,
Yeah, honestly, that both Central divisions are wide open. You could win either Central division, honestly, with 84 wins.
yeah, I can see
And
that.
84 wins in the American League East is going to get you third place at best.
Now, do you think all the while, now you, as you said, the AL East, you could see so do you think it'll be the division and three AL East wild cards?
Uh,
Are you going to
if
eliminate every other team, all other, what is it, 13 teams from being able to hit a wild card because the AL East is so strong?
no, no, I don't. Well, it depends. If everybody were, let's just say on paper, we know what we know, and everybody stays healthy. Okay. You could potentially make that argument. Yes, that could happen. Okay. But there's a team out west named the Seattle Mariners that are going to make that really difficult for the AL
I can't
East to
wait
run
till
the
we talk
table.
the AL West because I really, really think Houston will not win an AL West championship this year. That's my prediction is
Yeah.
that Houston will not be the AL West champions.
Yeah. And see, and I think the Houston Astros, as hard as this is for me to say, will win that division. But I think Seattle's going to lock up a wild card and solidly lock up a wild card. I think the Angels are going to do everything they possibly can, but they're just not there. But
I
that,
think, well,
go
the
ahead.
Angels are going to play in October.
Yeah, I
They're
know.
going to play in October.
October 1st, baby. Woo!
um,
But you got the Rangers out there that have spent tons of cash. So on paper, if Jacob DeGrom is healthy and a few other guys are healthy, Corey Seager's healthy and a few others,
I
they could
think that
potentially win 90
honestly,
games.
yeah, in all honesty, I think the Rangers in my opinion, the Rangers have the best pitching rotation in baseball.
You can make that argument if they're
I
healthy.
mean, I
If
don't
they're
see the.
healthy.
I think if you were to go a 5-game series, a full 5-game series between the Rangers and the Astros, the Rangers pitching staff would thrump on the Astros pitching staff. My opinion.
So
Just throwing it out there.
So here's what I think about here's how I wrap up the NL or the AL East in saying this. To win this division, assuming everybody's healthy. Okay. Now we don't know. Somebody can twist their ankle, be out for 2 months, whatever, right? We don't know. But assuming that everybody stays healthy.
Knock on wood, we don't wish any.
Exactly. Exactly. Assuming everybody's healthy, it's going to take at least 100 wins to win this division.
Yes.
Okay. It's going to take about 90 to 95 wins to get a wild card spot in the American League because of this division. And I know Boston hasn't knocked it out of the park in the offseason, but Boston is Boston. They fight to win. They are winners up there. They know how to win. They know how to get their team going.
I can't wait till we get Boston Sarah on this show.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have her on here soon. We're gonna get her on soon. So, but here's the other thing, Sam. Here's what and when we talk about American League Central next week, I'll tell you this. I think you could win the Central in 84 games, but I think this division you need 100 games to win.
That's fair. That's fair. I think so. To give my wrap up on this division, in 45 seconds, I think the Yankees are going to be what the Yankees do.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna have the fans behind them. Aaron Judge is going to come out and do what he did, not do what he did last year, because I don't see him doing another 61, 62 home run season. I really don't. At least if he does it, it's not going to be consecutive years. It's going to be a couple of years till he does it again. Mm-hmm. But I think he's going to be in that mid 40s. There's just no, I don't think there's anyone that could argue with that after what he did last year. I think the shocker of this division, and I'm going to say this on Super Bowl Sunday, as Bill made his prediction, Baltimore is going to be the first wild card seed in the AL next year. In this coming season, Baltimore is going to be the first wild card.
Nice.
That
Good
team
take.
has got everything it takes to be there. And I think them being young is what is what is allowing all these other teams to underestimate them. I think the Orioles are the dark horse in this division, and it's going to take everyone else by storm.
Very well could be. Very well could be. And I don't argue with that. I agree with what you say about Aaron Judge. I think between Aaron, Allrise, Judge, Giancarlo, I can't find a jersey that fits me, Stanton, and Anthony Rizzo. I think between those three guys, you're going to see about 115 home runs, just with those guys. Those guys are gonna produce this year, and it makes it now. As the '90s commercial said, "Chicks did the long ball," right? We've become a situation where we're always trying to hit the 5-run home run, right, with nobody on base. But the Yankees have power. It's just, can they pitch? If they can pitch, if Nasty Nestor and a couple of the other pitchers are as good as they think they are on paper, they're going to run away with this thing. They'll get 103, 105 wins and run away with the division.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think this division is going to be very, very difficult to watch.
Yep.
And I know Bill mentioned we're going to be possibly doing the AL Central next week. We'll see what happens next week. Maybe we'll go East, Central, West. We don't know.
Maybe we'll have a couple people on that represent this team, and we'll talk about the American League East again. Who knows?
We never know what's going to happen on Around the Diamond. Normally until about 15 minutes before the show actually airs. But
Ain't that the truth?
It's a stone cold fact, and we're living to it day by day.
Listen, our production staff is, they keep us on our toes.
They do. But to wrap up this session of Around the Diamond, Bill, give us a quick look at this podcast and IG live schedule, because as we're now getting really to baseball, we're going to really be amping this up.
Yeah. So tomorrow there will be a Bills Corner that'll drop. Monday there will be a Bills Corner that'll drop. There's a couple of different scheduling things that are going on for Tuesday as far as the podcasts are concerned. Wednesday, there's going to be a Padres talk with a new Padres fan that'll drop. And then what I've started to do, and pay attention to this for those of you around the Diamond fans, I've started to reach out to people for Instagram lives. Now, it's unfortunate Instagram only lets us put 4 people per live on, but I'm reaching out to people from different teams. So you'll see Grand Slam Sam on when I do a Giants edition, which I'm hoping to do the following week. But this week we have a Reds fan
us
on.
Off as far as possible, fans, because he knows when it's 3 Giants and 1 Dodger, he's actually out now.
Yeah, but one of us will be playing deep in October. Okay.
Oh, we'll see what happens.
That'd be the Giants. No, just kidding. All right. And then we've got an Instagram live with Juicebox Jackie, where we're gonna do the giveaway. Now I don't know if you've seen the Instagram live that we've done before, but Jackie and she's giving a replica World Series Dusty Baker ring away. I'm giving 2 Craig Biggio baseball cards away, and also 2 VIP tickets to a watch party. If you are in the Houston area, great. If not, around the country for Top Fan Rivalry. And then Wednesday night, we have the typical Dodgers group on. Last week, Sam, I don't know if you got on, but last week we had Derek Schaefer on, who's a high school pitcher who has signed a commitment letter to the University of Tennessee. And was playing at Dodger Stadium last Sunday, a week ago from today, or last Sunday. He was playing at Dodger Stadium in a very elite tournament. And I went up to Dodger Stadium and watched him. He was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
That's awesome.
So
was that and you mean after last week's Fan Fest weekend for all of baseball?
Yeah, after last week's Fan Fest weekend. And
that is a whole other conversation that Bill and I don't want to get into, because we will just complain about how Fan Fest is becoming a monopolized capitalist event for these teams to take advantage of their fans.
Oh my gosh.
We're not going to.
We won't talk about Fan Fest because I don't want to throw my computer out the 3rd story that I'm in right now.
I don't want to really go into how these teams are monopolizing on our funds and taking all of our money away from us. But we'll leave that conversation.
All right. And to wrap it up.
So, top fans around the Diamond fans, you got to make sure you're keeping an eye on Bill and I, because we have a ton of things happening on a regular basis. And like we've said, we never really know what's going to be happening. But the one thing I can tell you is that's a constant, is that if you check out topfanrivalry.com, not only are you always going to be able to see the amazing articles that our top fans are putting out there, like Bill, Jackie, Sarah, Megan, Mikey. We have articles coming out all the time. Bill does a phenomenal job about keeping this site up with a bunch of content, so you got to make sure you're checking it out. The podcasts that are coming out regularly are stellar. The merch. Make sure you're going there and getting your merch. And if you use the code Grand Slam in all caps, you will get 10% off, not only on the merch, but you will also get 10% off on your Top Fan Clubhouse membership for the year. So you can save a little bit of money on the membership and not only have access to all these stuff, but be able to watch Bill and I and our radio voices every Saturday and every once in a while Sunday morning. And then there's this awesome event Bill is planning for this entire baseball season. Bill, watch parties, my friend. Tell us about the watch parties.
This has been an endeavor, Sam, that is just a labor of love. It's been so phenomenal. So here's what's going on with the watch parties. Obviously, those of you that are watching this, you're watching it in the clubhouse, so you already have locker room access. Sammy's telling you, refer a friend to it. We want people to go to Top Fan Rivalry every single day during the season and check out the new fun stuff we have. But let me tell you about the watch parties. Okay, so we got one in Phoenix on the 24th of March. We got one in Fountain Valley, California, on the 27th. We got one in Anaheim on April 1st. We got one planned in Philadelphia, one planned in LA, one planned in San Francisco, one planned in San Diego, one planned in New York, one planned in Boston. They're all over the place. These watch parties are going to be to get the Top Fan Rivalry followers together. Come on in. Let's have a good time together. We'll announce locations. If the location charges Top Fan, we're going to give you there'll be a small cover at the door or whatever, but we'll provide some drink tickets or appetizers. Trust me, it'll be worth your time. Besides for that, when we do the one in Philadelphia, I'll be out there and Sam will be there too. So not only do you get to hear our radio voices at the watch
You can
party,
actually
you get
meet
to
us in
see our
person.
radio faces, right? So this is good times. But these watch parties, go on topfanrivalry.com and submit the fact that you want to be there. Let us know because we want to have you there. They're going to be a great time. The one, Sam, the one in Anaheim on the 1st, we're renting out the entire venue. It's a brewery. The entire venue is for Top Fan Rivalry.
I can't get to Anaheim, Bill.
I
So rub
know,
it in
I
my
know,
face
I
as
know.
much as
I'm
you
so
want.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
But top fans, around the Diamond fans, Bill has been putting in a labor of love, labors and hours of love into these events. And we're excited about it. We're excited to get out there, meet with you, give you the opportunity to tell us in person what you really think about our beautiful radio faces on Around the Diamond. It's as baseball is now getting closer and closer, we're even more and more excited about this upcoming season. Bill, any final words?
That's it.
All right, well, Top Fan, Around the Diamond fan, from Grand Slam Salmon Baseball, Bill, see you on the field.
Yeah.
But then I know it's growing strong. Was in the spring, and spring became the summer.